The sky above New York shimmered with unnatural auroras rippling like liquid metal, and Elias felt the weight of it in his chest before he even heard the broadcast. His fingers drummed against the railing of his apartment balcony, the city's hum muted beneath the growing tension. "It's beautiful," he whispered, though his voice trembled. Mara, standing beside him, didn't answer. Her sharp gaze scanned the horizon, unblinking. Her hand clenched the railing so tightly the knuckles shone white. "Beautiful doesn't save us," she said, and her words cut sharper than the wind. The broadcast began with a crackling distortion that made the hairs on Elias's neck rise. The council's emblem glowed over the city skyline on every screen. A figure emerged, clad in iridescent armor, its face hidden beneath a mask that reflected the auroras above. "Humans," the voice boomed, metallic and cold. "Your planet has been observed. Your species evaluated. Your continued existence is under reconsideration." Elias froze. Mara's breath caught beside him. Silence stretched, heavy, oppressive. "Reconsideration?" he finally asked, his voice barely audible. Yet it carried the weight of every human who had ever dared to dream. The figure paused, tilting its head with unnerving precision as if reading minds. "You have 3 cycles," it said. 3 of your days. Demonstrate worth, or extinction will be executed, without negotiation." The words hit like meteorite fire. Mara's fist banged against the railing. 3 days? "That's insane." She spun, eyes blazing, scanning the streets below. People were already spilling into the avenues, faces upturned, panic blooming in patterns that made Elias's stomach churn. How do we even start proving worth to them? They don't want worth. They want domination, Elias muttered. He stared at the strange auroras painting the skyline, swirling faster, like the sky itself was alive, listening. "They're testing us, watching every choice we make." Mara's gaze sharpened, a flicker of grim determination forming. "Then we fight their test. We make them see us as humans, dangerous, brilliant, untamable." The city trembled. A low hum reverberated through the streets, vibrating against metal, glass, and bone alike. Elias felt it in his chest, a rhythm not quite natural, almost like the heartbeat of the planet itself. He glanced down. Vehicles were halting mid-motion. Birds hovered mid-air. And the humans below, for all their confusion and fear, were beginning to move with strange coordination, an instinctive defiance he didn't fully understand. A voice rang in his ear, not from the broadcast, but through the faint earpiece Mara always carried. "Elias, Mara, there's a pattern in the auroras. Signals, they're not just threats. They're a map. You need to decode it." Elias blinked. "A map what? To what?" Silence answered him. The hum intensified. It was a language he didn't know he could hear. And yet deep in his mind a spark of comprehension flickered. 3 days, Mara said, her voice steady now. 3 days to prove everything, or none of us survive. She swallowed hard, then straightened. "We start moving. We gather others. We find the patterns. And we fight their perception of us. Every step, every breath. We make them see what humans truly are." Elias nodded, feeling the fire of resolve ignite behind his fear. They weren't just pawns in some alien judgment. They were the storm. They were unpredictability incarnate, and unpredictability was human. As they sprinted down the fire-lit streets, the auroras twisted and pulsed like an unseen eye, reflecting in shattered windows. Somewhere deep in the cosmos, the council observed. Elias's thoughts ran faster than his feet. Each decision, each reaction, could tip the scales between survival and annihilation. And yet, a strange thrill coursed through him, the kind only humans feel when standing against impossibility, when facing the abyss with their teeth bared. Mara glanced at him. "Elias, do you feel it?" The wind carried a strange electric scent. "The world, listening." He nodded. "I feel it. And I think it's waiting for us to speak, to act, to roar." A shadow flickered in the corner of his vision, something immense, unseen but present, lurking just beyond the edges of reality. The auroras surged, a pulse that rattled the buildings and rattled their bones. And then, from every screen, the figure's voice returned, sharper this time, almost intimate. 3 cycles. Fail and your fire ends. Begin." Elias swallowed. Mara's hand found his. Their fingers locked. In that moment, humanity's gamble began. Not with weapons, not with fleets, but with minds, hearts, and the indomitable swagger of the species that never bows. The countdown had begun. Elias and Mara ran through the streets, the city's chaos unfolding like a living organism. People shouted, vehicles stalled, and the auroras above pulsed with an almost mocking rhythm. The hum from the sky had grown louder, vibrating in every bone, every nerve ending, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Elias gritted his teeth. "We don't have time to panic," he shouted over the sound, though panic drummed in his chest anyway. "We follow the signals. That's all we know." Mara's eyes scanned the sky, tracing the shifting lights with sharp precision. The auroras, they're more than colors. Look at the pulses. The patterns, they repeat but with variation. It's a code. Her voice wavered for the first time, betraying both awe and fear. Elias glanced at her, nodding. A code that could kill us if we misread it. Charming. They reached a small rooftop park, its greenery strangely untouched amid the chaos. From this vantage, the auroras stretched over the entire city, twisting like molten ribbons. Mara pulled a small device from her pocket, something she had cobbled together with leftover tech, satellites, and intuition. It flickered and beeped, reading the electromagnetic patterns in the sky. "We're not just being watched," she muttered. "They're testing our perception, our speed, our thinking. Every human on Earth right now is a part of this. This experiment," Elias's jaw tightened. "Then we'll show them humans aren't just fast or strong. We're cunning. We adapt, we learn, we dominate when it matters." His words weren't bravado. They carried the weight of humanity itself, the stubbornness that refused to bow. Mara gave him a brief, incredulous smile. "You always have to swagger, don't you?" "Swagger is a survival tactic," Elias replied, already scanning the signals Mara's device was decoding. Patterns flickered in sequences, some repeating, others seemingly random. And yet deep in their rhythm, a message pulsed faintly. Something hidden. Something the Council expected them to notice. "These aren't just coordinates," Elias said, pointing. "They're a warning, or an invitation." Before Mara could respond, the hum shifted, lower, sharper, resonating like the voice of a predator that had smelled fear. The shadows in the alleys moved unnaturally, bending as if reality itself was aware of their presence. Elias froze. They can't just be watching. Something's here. From the darkness, a figure emerged, tall, impossibly thin, its limbs almost crystalline, reflecting the auroras in jagged flashes. Its eyes, or what Elias assumed were eyes, glowed like molten silver. It spoke in a language that vibrated in the air itself, a resonance that made bones ache and minds spin. Mara raised her device defensively. "We're not prey," she said firmly, voice unwavering despite the trembling in her fingers. The figure tilted its head, examining them. Then, with a sound like shattering glass, it moved aside, revealing a pathway in the light, a corridor of auroras forming a tangible arch, shimmering and unstable. Elias swallowed. "Do we follow?" Mara hesitated only a fraction of a heartbeat. "Do we not?" She stepped forward and Elias followed. As they passed through the auroral arch, the world shifted. The city below vanished, replaced by a vast, suspended void. Stars hung impossibly close, yet no gravity pulled at them. The auroras twisted into shapes, hints of structures that defied human logic. Towers that floated, bridges of light, corridors that bent space. The alien figure accompanied them silently, its presence both comforting and threatening. Mara whispered, "This isn't a test of strength. It's a test of understanding." Elias's mind raced, or of fear. And if fear wins, we die. They moved carefully, reading the light patterns like a language of thought itself. Every wrong interpretation could trigger observation, punishment, or worse. Yet the thrill of challenge ignited them both. Suddenly, the auroras pulsed violently. A voice erupted from everywhere at once, 1,000 echoes layered atop each other. "You are human. Prove your worth, or your fire ends." The words were sharper, closer this time, vibrating through their bones. Elias's chest burned with a mix of fear and defiance. "We will prove it," he said, almost to himself. Mara nodded, though her lips trembled. "We have to. Not just for us. For everyone down there." The figure ahead stopped at a fork in the auroral corridor. One path shimmered gold, the other blue, both radiating energy that felt alive, almost sentient. Elias glanced at Mara. "Which path?" he asked, tension thick in his voice. Mara studied the pulses carefully, reading subtle cues in the aurora's rhythm. "The blue," she decided. It responds to human thought patterns. The gold, it's a trap. They stepped forward together. The void trembled. The auroras pulsed almost angrily, and somewhere far above the council observed, calculating, judging, waiting for the instant when humanity would falter. But Elias's mind raced ahead, a spark of defiance burning brighter than the auroras themselves. Humanity wasn't just in the room, it was storming the gates. A sudden jolt shook the corridor. The auroras flickered violently. Behind them, the crystalline figure's eyes glinted, almost warning them. Danger was close, closer than any of their fears. Mara grabbed Elias's arm. "We need to move, now." As they ran, the light around them shifted, twisting, warping, hiding secrets they weren't ready to see. And somewhere, faint but unmistakable, a pulse of laughter echoed across the void, alien, amused, and dangerous. Time was slipping. 3 cycles were almost gone, and the test, the Council's savage, unyielding trial, was only just beginning. The auroral corridor stretched endlessly, bending in ways that made Mara's stomach lurch and Elias's mind race. Every step felt like moving through a living puzzle, light and shadow twisting around them, whispering secrets humans weren't meant to hear. Elias's fingers brushed against the shimmering walls. "It's almost like it's listening to us," he muttered. Mara nodded, eyes darting between the patterns, reading subtle shifts in the light like a heartbeat. Every thought, every hesitation, they can sense it. It's a test of cognition, of instinct. Suddenly, a sharp pulse of light struck the floor beneath them and the corridor shivered. Their shadows stretched unnaturally, fracturing into multiple forms, each reflecting different outcomes, different possibilities. Elias froze. "Do you see that?" Mara's lips pressed together. "Yes, it's showing us futures, choices we haven't made yet, consequences we can't fully understand." Her voice was low, almost reverent, almost afraid. From the shadows, the crystalline figure reappeared, gliding alongside them. It raised one arm, pointing toward a convergence of auroras ahead. Threads of gold and silver entwined like a braid, pulsating with a rhythm that resonated in their chest bones. Elias's mind raced. "That has to be the core of their test," he said. "If we crack that, we survive. Or we die." Mara swallowed hard. It's like staring at infinity and being asked to take a single step. Wrong step, instant failure. A sudden vibration surged through the corridor. The light threads split, revealing a series of floating panels, each displaying images of Earth, cities, forests, oceans, overlaid with alien symbols. Some showed humans fighting, others cooperating, laughing, crying. Elias felt a pang of pride and terror. They're watching everything. Every act of humanity, every choice we've made in history and now. Mara's jaw tightened. They want to see the best of us. But how do you condense billions of lives into a single verdict? A voice echoed through the corridor, closer this time, intimate and omnipresent. Humans are unpredictable, clever but reckless, brave but fragile. Will you rise or fall? Elias squared his shoulders. We rise always, that's who we are. That's everything we've ever been. Mara's eyes met his. For a fleeting second, fear melted into defiance. Then we do it together. Every step, every thought, every heartbeat counts. The panels shifted again, faster now, a torrent of images and light that threatened to overwhelm them. Elias's mind fought to process it, to find the pattern hidden in chaos. Look at the repetition, he shouted. Every cycle, the colors shift the same way. We can anticipate the next sequence. Mara's fingers danced across her device, mapping the signals. It's like predicting a storm by reading the wind. If we follow their rhythm, we can reach the core without triggering the traps. They advanced cautiously, the crystalline figure gliding silently behind them, watching, waiting. A sudden burst of light erupted ahead, blinding and hot, and the corridor split violently. Gold threads snaked toward them, silver threads recoiled, and a low vibration shook their bones. Elias lunged forward, dragging Mara behind him. This is it. One step wrong and... The pulse of energy passed over them like fire, and they stumbled, hearts racing, minds spinning. But they hadn't faltered. The corridor narrowed. The auroras thickened, forming a wall of undulating color that hummed with life. Within it, something moved. Something ancient, vast, and intelligent. Mara whispered, "That's the core, that's what they want us to confront." Elias's lips curved into a grim smile. "And we will. Because if there's one thing humans do better than anything, it's survive the impossible. As they approached, the core pulsed in response to their heartbeat, glowing brighter with every synchronized step. Elias realized something chilling. It wasn't just a test of thought or instinct, it was a test of spirit. The auroras reflected not just patterns but human will. Every doubt, every fear, every flicker of hesitation made the colors flicker violently. And yet, as their courage solidified, the auroras pulsed steadily, almost approvingly. Then came the moment of truth. A voice, layered and omnipotent, filled the corridor. Your species has potential. But can you embrace unity under pressure? Can you see beyond survival to create meaning? Elias's heart thundered. Mara grasped his hand, squeezing tightly. We can, we must. That's what humanity does. We rise even when the sky falls. The core shimmered violently, and for a heartbeat everything paused. The auroras froze in mid-pulse, the panels of Earth images suspended like frozen memories. Elias held his breath. Mara's voice broke the silence, soft but unwavering. We are human. We are fire. We do not bow. Then the aurora shifted. The colors cascaded like waterfalls, faster than thought, but in perfect harmony. The panels glowed, projecting the faces of humans everywhere. Fearful, brave, stubborn, alive. The core pulsed in rhythm with their resolve, almost acknowledging them, almost smiling. The crystalline figure tilted its head, a silent nod that carried more weight than any words could. Outside on Earth, the auroras intensified. People stopped, staring skyward, sensing something monumental unfolding. Elias and Mara had reached the edge of comprehension, standing at the threshold of alien judgment, and for the first time, they felt the weight of humanity's spirit in full force. Unyielding, brilliant, unpredictable. A subtle vibration coursed through the auroras, almost a whisper. Impress us, human. Show us why your fire deserves to burn. Elias's eyes met Mara's, and both knew what they had to do. Not just to survive, not just to endure, but to dominate the test itself, to show the cosmos why humanity was untamable. The countdown was still running. Time was slipping, and the Council's savage eyes were watching. The auroral core pulsed like a heartbeat, its light spilling over Elias and Mara, wrapping them in a brilliance that made thought feel both infinite and immediate. Every pulse seemed to test their perception, probing their fears, their pride, their instincts. Elias clenched his fists. It's not enough to survive this. We have to dominate it. Make it know that humans aren't fragile. Mara's eyes blazed. Then we stopped thinking like prey. We think like the storm it can't control. They stepped closer. Each step distorted space around them. The panels of Earth flashed images faster, sharper. Humans fighting, building, loving, dying, and rising again. The core pulsed in rhythm with every human heartbeat, almost mimicking life itself. Elias's mind whirled. It's not just observing us. It's measuring our resolve, our capacity to endure everything. Every horror, every triumph, every stubborn flicker of spirit. Mara's lips tightened. Then we show it all. Not just courage, but humanity's fire. The crystalline figure hovered near them, its form now shimmering with fractal patterns that reflected the auroras above. It made no sound, but its presence carried a weight of expectation heavier than gravity. Elias whispered, "Do you think it understands what we're thinking? Or are we just feeding it chaos to see if we break?" Mara shook her head. "It doesn't care about chaos. It wants pattern. Our pattern. It wants to see if humans can impose order on themselves when the world itself becomes impossible." The auroras shifted violently, golden threads intertwined with silver, forming shapes that twisted in ways defying physics. Panels of Earth rotated and multiplied, showing billions of lives compressed into a fractal of consequence. Elias felt his stomach twist. We can't solve it in the normal way. We have to respond intuitively with human instinct, not just thinking but living, feeling, acting. Mara nodded, stepping forward with him. Then we lead it, not follow. Humans dominate by choice, not by compulsion. That's what it doesn't understand. The core flared suddenly, blinding them. For a heartbeat, Elias felt like he was falling through eternity. Light shredding thought, memory, even fear. When his vision cleared, the auroras had formed a massive lattice of energy, walls and corridors pulsating in sync with their breathing. Panels of human lives now projected not just images but emotions. Laughter, grief, courage, despair. All compressed into rhythm with the auroral lattice. Mara's hand gripped his. It's feeding on us, Elias, not just our actions. Our emotions, our will. Elias swallowed, feeling both terror and exhilaration. Then we give it everything. Every ounce of humanity we've ever had. All of it. Let it see who we really are. Mara's lips curved in a grim smile. And if it tries to crush us? Elias's eyes glittered. Then we burn brighter. And it will regret ever testing us. They moved into the lattice. Light threads wrapped around them, probing, measuring, bending in response to their slightest hesitation. Panels flickered faster, now projecting hypothetical choices, possible failures, outcomes where humanity fell. Elias recognized the challenge immediately. The core wanted them to doubt themselves. And doubt was death. Mara whispered, "Do not falter. Every fear is a trap. Every hesitation is fuel for it to judge us unworthy." A pulse of auroral light slammed into Elias, and for a fraction of a second, he saw himself not as human but as fragile, small, expendable. His chest tightened. Mara's eyes met his, steady and unflinching. "Not now," she said. "Not ever. We define ourselves. Not it." He exhaled sharply, letting defiance burn through his fear. "Then we own this test. Show it human cunning, human endurance, human fire." The crystalline figure suddenly shifted, extending its arm. Threads of gold and silver converged, forming a floating puzzle, intricate and impossible. It hovered in front of them, pulsing with latent energy, almost alive. Mara stared at it. "This is it. The final sequence. Solve it wrong, and it ends us." Elias nodded, a grin breaking through the tension. "Or solve it right and we make it understand why humans can't be ignored." They approached the puzzle. Every wrong thought made the threads tighten, humming with dangerous intensity. Every correct intuition caused the lattice to glow warmly, almost approvingly. Elias's mind raced, calculating patterns instinctively, letting instinct guide logic. Mara's hands moved with precision, responding to his cues. Their thoughts aligned, synchronized like twin engines of will. And then, something unexpected happened. The lattice pulsed and the core's voice resonated inside their minds. "Your species has spirit, resourcefulness, danger, yet unity is your ultimate trial." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Unity? We don't just survive alone. We rise together. That's the point." Mara squeezed his hand. "Then we finish it as one." The puzzle shifted, threads bending to their combined will. The lattice began to hum in harmony with their heartbeat. The core flared with overwhelming brilliance. Panels of earth everywhere froze for a heartbeat, then shimmered in resonance. The crystalline figure tilted its head, almost bowing slightly. And for the first time, Elias felt it. The core acknowledged them. Outside, earth trembled slightly under the aurora's intensity. People on the streets gasped upward, sensing the monumental shift in the sky. Elias and Mara, hearts pounding, adrenaline roaring, stood at the center of the lattice. They weren't just surviving. They were speaking to the cosmos with the language of humanity itself. Defiance, ingenuity, courage, and fire. The countdown still ticked. But for the first time, Elias smiled genuinely. "We're not just answering their test," he said. "We're rewriting it." Mara's eyes gleamed. "And they're finally listening." Above, in the infinite void, the council observed. And somewhere deep in the aurora's core, a recognition formed. Humanity was no longer just a subject. Humanity was a force. The auroras above Earth now churned violently, spilling light that bathed every street, every skyscraper, every trembling human below. Elias and Mara had emerged from the auroral lattice into a space that felt both infinite and intimate, as if the cosmos itself had drawn a stage for humanity's defiance. But the core wasn't done yet. From the void beyond the lattice, forms began to emerge. Figures tall, sleek, their bodies shimmering with an alien elegance, eyes glinting with intelligence and menace. The council's agents, Elias's jaw tightened. So it escalates. They're not just watching, they're testing us in real time now. Mara nodded, fingers tightening on her device. "We don't just survive this, they want to see if humans can dominate an immediate threat while under observation." Classic council cruelty. The agents advanced silently, and yet Elias felt their presence like a weight pressing on his chest. Every instinct screamed danger, but his mind screamed louder. "We can outthink them." The first agent stepped forward, and its form warped subtly, adapting to their fears. Mara hissed, "They read us. Every hesitation, every doubt, they exploit it." Elias clenched his fists. Then we give them nothing to read. No doubt, no fear. Only human fire. The agents flickered with a pulse of awareness, circling them in synchronization, trying to anticipate the next move. Elias moved first, darting toward the nearest agent. His movement wasn't just speed, it was improvisation, unpredictability, human cunning in its rawest form. The agent twisted, but he anticipated the shift, landing a precise strike against its energy field. Mara followed, her device projecting a pulse of light that disrupted the agent's stability, forcing it to recalibrate. "We're fast, clever, and cooperative," she shouted. "They can't predict us because we're human." The agents adjusted, moving faster, adapting to each action Elias and Mara took. But humans were nothing if not resourceful. Elias grabbed a shard of auroral light from the floor, improvised, dangerous, and hurled it at one agent, scattering its energy form. Mara used the moment to manipulate the lattice threads, bending space subtly to create traps and obstacles. The agents faltered, briefly confused by the improvisation. Elias grinned. "See? Unpredictable. Dangerous. Untamable." One agent advanced toward Mara, faster than the eye could track. She pivoted, twisting her body with perfect precision, and slammed her device against its energy core. The agent shuddered, flickered, then reformed. Elias felt the intensity of the core's observation pressing down harder. The council wasn't just watching. They were learning, testing if humans could think under the weight of immediate threat. A sudden pulse from the auroras struck Elias, almost knocking him off his feet. Images flashed across his mind. Billions of humans struggling, fighting, surviving, dying, and rising again. He realized the core was projecting human history into their immediate consciousness, forcing them to integrate every lesson, every instinct, every memory. "It's not just a fight," he shouted. "It's a confrontation of will. We're proving our entire species in a single moment." Mara's eyes sparkled with defiance. "Then let's prove it." She manipulated the auroral threads like a conductor, guiding Elias and herself through a dangerous dance of light and shadow. Every movement disrupted the agents' coordination, forcing them into unpredictable patterns. The agents tried to anticipate human improvisation, but humans were chaos incarnate, brilliance wrapped in defiance. The battle escalated. One agent lunged at Elias, energy claws extended. Elias ducked, twisted, and struck with a pulse of collected auroral energy. It staggered, flickering violently. Mara spun, releasing a surge of threads that ensnared another agent, bending its form back on itself. The core pulsed violently, almost as if in awe or irritation at human ingenuity. Elias glanced at Mara, eyes blazing. This is it. Not just survival. Not just defiance, domination. They'll learn if they dare to watch that humans don't bow, don't break, don't submit. Mara's lips curved in a grim smile. Then let's make them remember it. With synchronized precision, they struck again and again, a whirlwind of human intuition and unpredictability. The agents faltered, staggered, and finally, after a pulse that shook the auroral lattice violently, the agents paused, analyzing, recalculating. Elias felt the weight of the council's gaze tighten, sharp and assessing. Mara whispered, "They're impressed, or scared, or both." The auroras above Earth twisted and flared like a crown of fire. Humanity had survived the Council's first real test, not just intellectually but physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And in that moment, Elias realized something deeper. Survival wasn't enough. Humanity's true power was its spirit, the indomitable fire that refused to bend, break, or bow. A low hum emanated from the core. The auroras pulsed in rhythm with Earth's heartbeat. The Council's voice echoed through the void, sharper, almost grudgingly respectful. Humans. Dangerous. Persistent. Untamable. Elias's chest swelled with pride, but he knew the countdown was still running. 3 cycles were almost over, and the ultimate test, beyond observation, beyond confrontation, was yet to come. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "We survived the first strike, but this isn't over. The real challenge is about to begin." Elias nodded, the fire in his eyes matching the auroras above. "Let them come. We'll burn through whatever they throw at us, because we're human and fire can't be contained." Above, the Council recorded, analyzed, and waited. Humanity had made its statement, and Earth's people, unaware of the scale of the trial, felt the hum of something monumental shifting in the skies. The stage was set. The final cycle was looming, and humanity's spirit, wild, defiant, unbreakable, was about to face its ultimate reckoning. The auroras over Earth now burned brighter than ever, a storm of light that set the skies ablaze. Elias and Mara stood at the edge of the lattice, breath ragged, hearts pounding, their senses stretched taut. The first wave of the Council's agents had been survived, but the core was far from finished. From the void beyond, a vibration like 1,000 hammers struck their bones, sending a shiver up their spines. The Council's final trial had begun. Mara's voice was low, sharp with determination. This is it. Everything we've learned, every instinct, every ounce of human ingenuity, it all leads here. One wrong step, one hesitation, and it ends. Elias swallowed, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline. Then we do what humans always do, we adapt. We fight smarter, faster, harder. We make them see us. The auroral lattice twisted violently. Panels of human history flared around them. Victories, defeats, triumphs, disasters, all compressed into a kaleidoscope of lessons and emotions. Elias realized the core wasn't just testing their skill or strength. It was confronting them with every human flaw and brilliance simultaneously. He felt weight press on his mind, a crushing gravity of expectation. Mara's hand found his. Focus on the fire, she whispered. Not the fear, fire, always fire. From the shadows of the lattice, new agents emerged. Unlike the previous ones, these moved unpredictably, phasing in and out of reality, adapting faster than their minds could anticipate. Elias's instincts screamed danger, but he forced himself to think 2 steps ahead. We need to use the lattice itself, he shouted, pointing to the threads of aurora pulsing around them. It's alive. If we manipulate it, we can control the battlefield. Mara nodded instantly, adjusting the device strapped to her arm. They moved as one, human intuition guiding each action. Elias struck at an agent, forcing it to shift. Mara twisted auroral threads, trapping another in a cage of light. The agents recalibrated instantly, but humans were chaos incarnate, brilliance wrapped in unpredictability. Every misstep from the Council's minions became an opportunity. Elias grinned through the tension. They don't understand humans. They can't predict us. That's our weapon. The auroral core pulsed violently, images of human vulnerability flashing in their minds, moments of grief, betrayal, fear. It tried to break them psychologically, to show the fragility behind their bravado. Elias felt a pang of doubt creep in, a whisper that maybe they weren't enough. Mara squeezed his hand fiercely. Not now, not ever. Remember who we are. We rise. Always. The surge of her conviction burned through his hesitation like a flare. One agent lunged, faster than thought. Elias sidestepped, grabbed a pulse of auroral energy and struck with precision. The agent faltered, fractured, reassembling slowly. Mara's thread snapped, binding another agent mid-lunge. The lattice responded to their combined will, bending space subtly, creating corridors and traps. Each success bolstered their confidence. Each failure became a lesson instantly applied. Humanity's adaptability was relentless. The Council's voice echoed through the lattice, layered, omnipotent, demanding, "Humans, you survive, but can you dominate the impossible? Can you rise when every law of physics, of logic, of reality itself conspires against you?" Elias's chest swelled with defiance. "We don't just rise, we soar. We make the impossible bow to human fire." Mara added, voice firm. "And if reality itself tries to crush us, we break it first. That's what humans do." The final sequence of the lattice began to shift. Threads of aurora formed a massive, twisting construct, almost a maze of energy and thought. The agents moved through it with lethal precision, but Elias and Mara manipulated the lattice faster, improvising, anticipating, bending rules in ways even the Council hadn't foreseen. The lattice pulsed with every heartbeat, every instinct, every spark of ingenuity. Humans weren't just surviving, they were dictating the flow of this trial. Then came the moment of ultimate pressure. The auroras flashed violently, showing catastrophic outcomes. Humans failing, Earth destroyed, the Council victorious. Elias's knees threatened to buckle under the weight of inevitability. Mara's grip tightened. "We define our outcome," she said, eyes blazing. "Not them. Not fear, we." Elias nodded. "Then we end this. With fire, they struck in unison. Elias projected auroral energy with precision. Mara reshaped the lattice, forcing the agents into traps they couldn't anticipate. The auroral core pulsed violently, screaming, testing, pressing against their minds with every ounce of cosmic authority. And yet the humans did not break. Their resolve, ingenuity, and raw audacity shaped the lattice. The agents staggered. The core pulsed in response, quieter now, almost reverent. Elias's voice rang out, bold and unwavering. We are human. We survive, we adapt, we dominate. And nothing, no force in the cosmos can stop our fire, Mara added, almost laughing with relief and exhilaration. And if they try, they'll learn the hard way that humans don't bow. The auroras exploded in light. The lattice vibrated, folding space, time, and perception into a single rhythm that pulsed with humanity's indomitable will. The council observed in silence for the first time. Their voices absent, their judgment paused. Humanity had endured the impossible, not through brute force alone, but through cunning, defiance, and the raw, unpredictable fire of spirit. Elias and Mara stood, battered, exhausted, but unbroken. The final cycle approached its end. The council's ultimate verdict loomed, but for the first time, humanity had made them hesitate, had forced them to acknowledge what humans could truly do. And in the skies above Earth, the auroras shimmered like a living crown, reflecting the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to bow, refused to break, and refused to be tamed. The auroras above Earth blazed like molten fire, stretching across continents, a crown of light that trembled with anticipation. Elias and Mara stood at the center of the auroral lattice, their bodies scorched with fatigue, their minds stretched to the brink. The council's agents had fallen back, watching, recalculating, but even they seemed hesitant now. Humanity had survived everything the council threw at them, but the final moment had arrived. Mara's voice was steady, but her eyes shone with uncontainable fire. This is it. The final cycle. One last push, one final act. We prove not just that humans can survive, but that we cannot be controlled. Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. Then we don't just answer their test. We rewrite it. Humanity doesn't wait for permission. Humanity defines reality itself. The auroral lattice pulsed violently, threads of gold and silver writhing like living creatures. Panels of Earth's history flashed rapidly, showing triumph, tragedy, courage, and defiance. The council's voice, omnipotent and layered, thundered through their minds. Humans, your persistence is noted. Your ingenuity, remarkable. Yet do you possess the ultimate proof? Can you rise when annihilation is inevitable? Elias's gaze hardened. I don't just rise, I blaze. Humans never bow to inevitability. Mara's hands danced over her device, manipulating the auroras, bending light, shaping energy, forcing the lattice to respond to human will rather than alien expectation. Then let's burn, she said. From the void, the agents advanced one final time, more relentless, more precise than ever. They moved with lethal elegance, phasing through space, bending time with every strike. But Elias and Mara were not prey, they were storm incarnate. Every pulse of auroral energy they wielded, every twist of the lattice disrupted the agents' coordination. Each human intuition, each improvisation, each spark of audacious thought became a weapon the council had not anticipated. The auroras flared violently, projecting images of fear and doubt directly into their minds. Visions of failure, Earth destroyed, humanity obliterated. Elias staggered under the weight of it, but Mara's hand found his. Do you see? This is exactly what they wanted. But they forget one thing. Elias's eyes met hers, blazing. Humans don't break under fear. We use it, we channel it, and it becomes fire. With a roar, Elias projected a pulse of auroral energy, pure and uncontrolled, striking an agent squarely. Mara twisted the lattice, weaving a trap of light that ensnared three more. The agents faltered, recalibrated, and then staggered again under the relentless ingenuity of humanity's improvisation. The core pulsed violently, almost screaming, as if it hadn't anticipated this level of audacity. Elias shouted into the auroras, defiance echoing across the void. We are human. Fear does not bind us. Threat does not break us. Fire defines us. Mara followed, her voice strong and unwavering. And fire cannot be contained. The lattice responded. Threads of gold and silver twisted violently, then folded, bending space and energy into a form that reflected human will. Panels of Earth glowed, projecting the faces of billions, all watching, all participating in the defiance. Humanity itself had become the weapon, the signal, the statement the Council could not ignore. A hush fell across the auroras. Even the Council's agents paused, shimmering in place, observing the display of sheer human spirit. The core pulsed one final time, a violent explosion of light, then receded into calm brilliance. The voice of the Council, layered and omnipotent, spoke once more. Different this time, almost hesitant. Humans, persistent beyond expectation, ingenious beyond calculation, untamable, indeed. Elias dropped to his knees, chest heaving. Mara knelt beside him, fingers entwined. Around them, the auroras shimmered in calm radiance, no longer threatening but acknowledging. Humanity had not only survived, they had dominated the trial, forced the Council to recognize the raw, unpredictable brilliance of human spirit. Outside, on Earth, the sky shimmered with gentle light. People looked up, sensing a monumental shift. Though they could not know the full extent of the trial, instinct told them something had changed. The hum of the auroras was no longer oppressive, it was alive, vibrant, responsive, a reflection of humanity itself. Elias stood, helping Mara to her feet. "We did it," he said softly, awe and pride lacing his voice. Mara smiled, a smile that held exhaustion, relief, and defiance all at once. "No," she corrected, eyes blazing. "We proved it. That humans are fire, and fire cannot be extinguished."